When you think of Parkinson's, what comes to mind? The trembling hand, the stiff body, the person who can barely walk. But what if I told you that Parkinson's begins to destroy the brain 10, sometimes 15 years before any tremors appear? And that during all that time, the body is already sending warning signs. Warnings that appear in your sleep, in your gut, in your nose, and even in the way you move your arms when you walk. Many people see their father or mother sleeping poorly, having violent nightmares, walking a little differently, and chalk it all up to stress or age. But it could be the nervous system beginning to fail silently. Today I'm going to reveal the 7 physical signs that Parkinson's sends before it actually appears. And at the end of the video, I'll tell you about a reversible cause of tremors that mimics Parkinson's perfectly, but has a simple cure. Stay with me until the end. Sign number 4 happens while the person is sleeping and startles whoever is next to them. If you have someone in your family over 55, this video is for you. Before continuing, do 3 quick things that cost nothing. Like the video by clicking the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment below telling us where you're from or if you've noticed any of these signs in someone in your family. These 3 simple actions help this content reach more families who need it. Now let's watch the video. What is Parkinson's and why is it deceptive? To understand the signs, you need to understand what's happening inside the brain. Parkinson's is caused by the progressive death of neurons in a specific region of the brain called the substantia nigra. These neurons produce dopamine, which is the neurotransmitter responsible for coordinating body movements, controlling balance, and regulating sleep and mood. When these neurons begin to die, the brain compensates. It uses the remaining healthy neurons to maintain normal function. That's why a person doesn't notice anything for years. But there's a limit. When about 60% to 80% of these neurons have been destroyed, that's when the tremor appears. That's when the disease movement freezes. That's when the disease finally reveals itself. The problem is that by the time it reaches this point, the process has already been happening silently for years. And it's during this silent window that the 7 signs appear. Let's look at them. Sign 7. Loss of smell without apparent cause. The person no longer smells the coffee. They don't notice the scent of flowers. They can't tell if the milk has gone bad. This may seem like a minor detail, but it is one of the earliest and most well-documented signs of early-onset Parkinson's. The olfactory bulb, the brain structure responsible for processing smells, is one of the first regions affected by the protein deposits that cause Parkinson's, called Lewy bodies. This destruction begins there, in the nose, before reaching the regions that control movement. Studies published in the journal Brain have shown that people who have lost their sense of smell without a nasal cause have up to a 5-fold higher risk of developing Parkinson's in the following years. If you or someone in your family has lost their sense of smell without having a cold, without having had COVID-19 recently, and without a known allergic cause, it's worth talking to a neurologist. Sign 6. Chronic constipation without explanation. Chronic constipation, going to the bathroom less than 3 times a week with straining, is one of the earliest signs of Parkinson's, and also one of the most overlooked. Why the gut? Because the enteric nervous system, the network of neurons that controls bowel function, is affected by the same protein deposits that cause Parkinson's. Researchers believe that in many cases, the process begins in the gut and travels up the vagus nerve to the brain. Constipation can precede a Parkinson's diagnosis by more than 10 years. Isolated constipation has 1,000 causes, but persistent constipation, which began without a change in diet or medication, combined with other signs on this list, warrants attention. Sign 5. Reduced arm swing while walking. Watch someone walking naturally, both arms swing, alternating with the legs, in an automatic and coordinated movement. In the early stages of Parkinson's, this automatic movement begins to falter on one side. One of the arms swings less, it becomes stiffer, it becomes stuck to the body while the other moves normally. The person doesn't notice, they aren't in pain, they don't feel weak. The arm has simply stopped receiving the automatic signal to move. This asymmetry in arm swinging is such a specific sign that it is part of the neurological assessment criteria for Parkinson's disease. The next time you walk alongside an older person, watch their arms. Sign 4. REM sleep disorder, the alarming sign. Under normal conditions, during REM sleep, The brain voluntarily paralyzes the body's muscles. This mechanism exists so that we don't walk around and hurt ourselves while dreaming. When neurons in a specific area of the brainstem begin to be affected by Parkinson's, this paralysis fails. The result? The person begins to physically act out their dreams. They kick, hit, scream, fall out of bed. And if you ask them what was happening, they'll say they were defending themselves from something or running away from someone in the dream. This disorder has a name: REM sleep behavior disorder. And long-term studies have shown that more than 80% of people with this disorder develop Parkinson's, Lewy body dementia, or multiple system atrophy in the following years. 80%. 2 seconds of silence before that sentence. If someone in your family has started having violent nightmares with physical movements, hitting, kicking, falling out of bed, don't treat it as a curiosity. Take them to a neurologist. If this video is making you see signs you've already noticed at home in a new light, hit the like button now. Tell me here in the comments, have you noticed any of these signs in someone in your family? Share this video now in your family group. There are people seeing these signs and not realizing what they're seeing. Moving on to the last 3 signs. Sign 3. Lower voice and smaller handwriting. The voice becomes lower, more monotonous, lacking the natural variation in volume and intonation. The person speaks as if they were always whispering, even without realizing it. Family members start asking them to repeat what they said. Handwriting changes in a very characteristic way. The letters gradually get smaller along a line. The beginning of the sentence is normal, but the words at the end are tiny. Doctors call this micrographia. If you have kept letters or notes written by a family member over the years, compare the older ones with the recent ones. If the letters have become progressively smaller, this warrants evaluation. Sign 2. Reduced facial expression. The face that stops. Look at an old photograph of someone you love. Smiles, lively expressions, liveliness. Now compare it to that person's face today. Has the expression diminished? Has smiling become more difficult? Does the face look more neutral, more fixed, even when the person is feeling well? This has a name: hypomimia. It is the reduction of facial expressions caused by progressive muscle stiffness. The facial muscles receive fewer signals from the brain to move. The person isn't sad, they aren't apathetic. Their face has simply stopped reflecting what they're feeling inside. Family members sometimes interpret this as depression or coldness, but it may be the nervous system losing control of the facial muscles. Sign 1. Resting tremor. Parkinson's tremor appears at rest. The hand shakes when it is relaxed, resting on the lap or on a chair. But when the person extends their arm to pick something up, the tremor decreases or disappears. This is different from essential tremor, the most common type of tremor, affecting up to 10% of the population, which happens exactly the opposite way. It appears when the person extends their arm or uses their hands and improves at rest. Many people confuse the two. Many families panic over essential tremor, thinking it's Parkinson's. The rule of thumb: does the hand shake at rest and stop when in use? Urgent neurological evaluation: does the hand shake when in use and stop at rest? Essential tremor: it also warrants evaluation, but it's very different. The good news that few people know. Before you close this video in a panic because you've recognized some symptoms, I need to give you some news that might be your greatest relief today. Not every tremor, not every slowness, not every change in posture is Parkinson's. There are treatable and reversible conditions that mimic Parkinson's with remarkable accuracy. The first is hypothyroidism. An underactive thyroid causes sluggish movements, a softer voice, reduced facial expression, constipation, and poor sleep, almost all the symptoms on the list. A simple blood test for TSH can identify it, and 1 pill a day takes care of it. The second is the use of certain medications. Some medications for nausea, blood pressure, and psychiatric disorders block dopamine receptors and cause tremors, rigidity, and slowness identical to Parkinson's. When the doctor identifies and switches the medication, the symptoms disappear. The third is vitamin B12 deficiency. B12 is essential for nerve health. A deficiency causes stiffness, slowness, loss of balance, and cognitive impairment. A replacement injection can completely reverse the condition. Therefore, before jumping to any conclusions, see a neurologist or geriatrician. Get tested. Because discovering that it's something reversible could be the greatest relief of your life. And if the test confirmed the onset of Parkinson's, know that early detection is your greatest advantage. Current treatments, when started early, can preserve quality of life for many years. The 3 golden rules for protecting the brain. Rule 1. Regular aerobic exercise. Exercise is the only proven factor that stimulates the production of new neural connections and protects neurons in the substantia nigra. Walking, swimming, dancing, cycling, 30 minutes 5 times a week. Rule 2. Quality sleep. It is during deep sleep that the brain activates its cleaning system, the glymphatic system, which removes protein deposits that accumulate and destroy neurons. Those who sleep poorly for years accumulate brain waste. Rule 3. Control systemic inflammation. Recent research shows a strong link between chronic inflammation in the body and neurodegeneration. Excess sugar, ultra-processed foods, prolonged sedentary behavior, all of these cause inflammation. Fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, movement, all of these protect. Peel more, unpack less, move more, sleep better. The brain responds to this care at any age. My dear ones, the nervous system is the most complex work of creation, and like any complex work, it needs attention, maintenance, and care before problems become too big to solve. Pay attention to the physical signs. Care lovingly for those who are moving more slowly, who are sleeping restlessly, whose speech has changed. They don't mean any harm. Their bodies are crying out for help in a way they themselves don't understand. Do a huge favor right now. Click the share button and send this video to your family group on WhatsApp. There are many family members living with these signs in their own homes and don't know what they're seeing. The right information at the right time changes the story. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications. In the next video, I'll show you the 5 blood tests that every adult over 50 should get every year, and that most don't get because their doctor never ordered them. A big hug, God bless, and take very good care of your mind.